What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and once again joined by Tyler. And in this video, we want to discuss how Yozora's girl, the unnamed woman, is actually his Sora. So this is going to, I'm going to warn you off right here. I'm going to hand over to Tyler to explain. We're going to do our best to keep it as simple as we can, but it's going to get rather confusing. One thing I do suggest you do, just to gain a little bit more knowledge, over the past couple days, we've talked a little bit about the endings of these games. Definitely something that if you guys are interested in, of course, check those out. We talked about the base ending of the game, and we have also talked about the good and bad or true, the different variations of the secret ending after you fight Yozora. But there's definitely more, especially in his conversations with Sora, our playable character Sora. And again, we're going to have to be very careful how we discuss this. I'm going to hand it over to Tyler to give his thoughts.
When we look at the interaction between Yozora and Sora for the very first time, and Sora's calling out to him, and they meet up with each other. Basically, Yozora says that he went through some trials. He ended up in this place by accident. So it's important to remember, he didn't end up in Shibuya by accident, because later they're kind of, I almost want to say like transported there. He didn't end up in Shibuya by accident. I think he ended up in that ocean and sky world by accident. But anyway, he went through some trials, and he was told to save Sora. Now, this is very important for this theory. When he says to Sora, basically he says, "How do you know me as Yozora?" And then, Sora explains, and Yozora asks him who he is, and he says that he's Sora, and he says, "Why are you using that name?" And then Sora's kind of confused. He's like, "Because I am Sora." So we learned a couple things from that. That tells me that when he was told to save Sora, he thought he was saving somebody else named Sora. Someone that he obviously knows, because he says, "You're not Sora." Well, he is Sora. So that means that there is another Sora that Yozora knows, but our Sora is not that Sora. Yozora knows somebody else by the name of Sora, likely from his world. Now, when we look at Verum Rex, we also know that he and his little gang are trying to save that woman there. I would assume that he's unable to save that woman, right? And that might be one of those trials. I don't know. We'll find that out probably in a couple of years. But I assume he's not able to save that woman. I assume that woman is Sora. So because he wasn't able to save her, and he's trying to save her, then therefore that is the Sora that he was trying to save. So when someone said save Sora, he assumed that he was trying to, or he was going to be able to save his Sora, not our Sora. I know it's a little confusing, but really it's kind of not. The only thing that's confusing is the fact that his name is Yozora, which sounds kind of like Sora. He has a Sora, and we have a Sora. Now I'm going to make another connection that when I was talking about it with Alex, I'm like, this is kind of interesting. We talked about this before, and I want to say to the people, because we said weeks ago that Yozora is an alternate universe Riku. People said I'm wrong, and that Yozora is Sora from an alternate universe. Impossible. I was right, and I'm not just going to be like in your face, but kind of in your face. If Yozora is Sora, how is he looking for a Sora that he knows? He can't. Therefore, Yozora is not an alternate universe Sora. Yozora is an alternate universe Riku. And here's why. Now, this even further backs up my original theory. Who is Riku constantly trying to save in the Kingdom Hearts series? Sora. He had to go back in Dream Drop Distance. He had to go back into the basically the dream state, the dream world, to rescue Sora. In Kingdom Hearts 3 ReMind, we learn that Riku again is trying to save Sora. They even bring up having him go back into his dreams to try to save Sora. Riku's constantly trying to save Sora in the Kingdom Hearts series. So, what's interesting is Yozora looks a lot like Riku. We already all know that. Everyone already knows that. Now, but here's what's interesting. Now knowing that Yozora is trying to save his own Sora, and that Riku's always trying to save Sora, it's interesting that a character who looks a lot like Riku, named Yozora, is also trying to save a Sora. What a parallel that is. So, I find that kind of interesting. I think that really furthers that world line, the alternate universe, and Kingdom Hearts are called world lines. I think it even furthers that. So I just wanted to say that was pretty interesting And I feel like that actually further backs up the point that Yozora's girl is named Sora. Because again, that's he's trying to save a girl in the Verum Rex trailer that's being played in the Toy Story world. I don't think he was able to save her. He's trying to save her. That's what he wants to do. So I think that was interesting. Also, when you look at the ending, we have a video about it. I think the bad ending is the true ending. And you could listen to that video to understand why that is. But what's interesting is when he in that ending, when Sora is crystallized, he says, "I will save you." I think mainly because of what he says when he's talking to Sora before he fights him, that basically fate brought us here, then my path is clear. So what I think he is basically doing is he knows that the only way that he's going to be able to save this Sora is if he defeats him, goes through whatever process Yozora knows with his powers, and we know that he has powers from the other ending, where he says, "I guess my powers aren't needed yet." He must be able to use his powers to save Sora. I think what Yozora thinks is that if he saves this Sora, who's our Sora, he'll be able to save his own Sora. So that's my little theory surrounding that. But all together, I think it all makes sense. He was clearly confused. Why are you using Sora's name? You're not Sora. Obviously, we know, the audience, the viewer, the player, we know, yeah, it is Sora. It's just not maybe the Sora that you thought it was. So who would it be? It would be that girl. So I also want to say that we thought, I think her name was Strelitzia from Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, when Sora is in the, basically like a heaven type world, that ocean sky world with the Chirruthy, and he's talking to those kind of like stars. There was a nameless star, and she was waiting for someone to come, a friend. I believe that was this other Sora, waiting for Yozora to come find her. And again, the reason I think that is that Yozora accidentally ended up in that world of ocean and sky, ironically where that nameless star is waiting for someone to show up to find her. So I think it's very connected, and what's funny about it is it's almost like a mirroring or parallel path, where Sora ends up back in that place because he wants to save Kairi. Yozora accidentally ends up in that place because he's trying to save his friend, Sora. So very, very interesting, the parallels there. A couple different parallels, like I said, with the Riku always trying to save Sora. So very, very interesting.
But like Tyler said, let us know in the comments below what you think about this theory. Does it have weight? Do you think something differently? And just in general, there's a lot of stuff that definitely comes from these Kingdom Hearts games. So let us know if you have any theories on your own, just of anything Kingdom Hearts 3 or ReMind related. Like I said in the beginning of this video, we're going to have videos every single day. We've been keeping up our Kingdom Hearts content. We've already had the ending explained, so we're starting to have some different theories. Let us know if you guys like this kind of stuff, obviously by leaving a like, subscribing, having that bell icon rung, all of that stuff. We're going to have more videos every single day going forward, and we hope to see you guys on tomorrow's video.